Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I am Nick from Australia. Hope you guys are doing well on this Friday night. Tonight's video is going to be my Newcastle Knights 2021 predicted NRL team. As always, I'm going to go through the 1 to 17 along with the 4 reserve players. Just so you guys know, this is my predicted Newcastle Knights side. I've gone through their 30-man roster, had a good look at their squad, and I've put together my best 1 to 17 for the Newcastle Knights. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it. At fullback, Kalen Ponga. On the wings, Starford Toa and Edric Lee. In the centres, Bradman Best and Hymel Hunt. In the halves, 5'8" Blake Green, halfback Mitchell Pearce. The front row of David Clemmer and Daniel Saifidi. The hooker is Jaden Brayley. The second row of Tyson Frizzell and Mitchell Barnett. The lock is Connor Watson. And on the bench, Kurt Mann, Jacob Saifidi, Sawasa Sue, and Lachlan Fitzgibbon. The coach is Adam O'Brien. And the 4 reserve players, in case of injury and suspension, I think these 4 will be in the 21-man squad each week, or most of the weeks anyway. I think it'll be Ari Tawala, Tex Hoy, Josh King, and Jamat Shibasaki. And now it's starting, it looks like I'm getting the thunderstorm where I am. But look, that's my best Newcastle Knights 1 to 17, along with the reserves. I'll go through it and I'll explain why. Fullback, obviously Kalen Ponga. I think it's a no-brainer. One of the best fullbacks in the game. Probably in the top 5, top 7 best fullbacks in the game. He's easily the best fullback at the Knights, and obviously I don't need to go too much into Kalen Ponga. Him at fullback, it's a no-brainer. The wingers, Starford Toa and Edric Lee. Now, Starford Toa, a bit of an unknown for some of you guys out there who might not know much about Starford Toa. He had a couple of games last year on the wing for the Knights, and he did a very good job, I thought. I think he's a player that has a lot of potential. He looked pretty good last year when he played. I think if he can get more minutes for the Knights on the wing, I think he can become a very good player. So I've got Starford Toa on the wing, along with Edric Lee. Now, Edric Lee, a lot of people just look at Edric Lee and go, always drops the ball over the line and all this. That's not what he does. What he does is he scores tries. He gets the sets rolling. He does all the little things right that wingers need to be doing these days. And Edric Lee is very experienced. He knows his job. He knows his role in the team. And I think he's a very good player, Edric Lee. I think he's probably in the top 10, top 15 best wingers in the game. He's a very good player, Edric Lee. The centres, Bradman Best and Hymel Hunt. Now, Bradman Best was looking very good at the start of last year. Obviously, I think he had a 2-week suspension, and then I think he came back, and I think it was 2. It was 2 or 3 weeks he was out. Then he came back, and I thought he was fantastic for the Knights. A player with a lot of potential. I know I've been saying that word a fair bit lately, but potential. Bradman Best has it all. I think he'll be a 200-plus game player for the Newcastle Knights. I think he's a future State of Origin player, and I think you need to give Bradman Best a little bit of time to develop his game and improve. He's a player of the future, I reckon. The other centre, Hymel Hunt. Now, Hymel Hunt played most of last year on the wing, but he's the sort of bloke where if you put him on the wing or if you put him in the centres, he will do a job for you. I'll tell you right now, Hymel Hunt's a very versatile player. He could even play fullback if he had to, but Hymel Hunt, a player with plenty of a player that's got plenty of skill, can play anywhere in the back line pretty much. I think centre is his best position. I want to see him play more centre this year for the Knights, and I've got him in the centres for the Knights. In the halves, 5'8", Blake Green, halfback Mitchell Pearce. Now, Blake Green, I don't think he'll be back till about round 8, round 9 anyway, due to that ACL injury he suffered last year. The older you get, the longer it takes to heal up. Now, Blake Green, a very experienced player. He knows his job very well. He will complement Mitchell Pearce very well in the halves. I know Blake Green's getting old, but, if you have that experience in the halves with you, you're going to do some really good things. I think Blake Green may only be there for one more season at the Knights, and then he might retire, but because Newcastle are getting Jake Clifford next season. But Blake Green, a very experienced player, and I think he'll complement Mitchell Pearce well in the halves. Halfback, Mitchell Pearce. one of the top 5 halfbacks in the game. He is a world-class player, Mitchell Pearce. Does his job well. I know off the field he's had some sort of issues in the past, but get rid of all that for a minute. Talk about his on-field stuff. Mitchell Pearce, a world-class halfback. He's won a grand final. He's won an Origin series. He's done a lot of great things for the Knights, and he's been a great player for him, and he's obviously the best halfback the Knights have at the moment. And dare I say it, Mitchell Pearce is the best halfback Newcastle have had since Andrew Johns, in my personal opinion. Now, the front row, David Clemmer and Daniel Saifiti. Now, David Clemmer would have played State of Origin last year, but he didn't get picked because he had a bit of a ongoing argument with Brad Fittler. Apparently, there was a few issues with David Clemmer and the New South Wales Origin side, so take that out of the equation. Clemmer is a rep player. He's an experienced player. He's a fantastic front rower, probably in the top 10 best front rowers in the game. He's a fantastic player, and obviously he makes the Newcastle Knights starting side, along with Daniel Saifiti. Now, Daniel Saifiti, for mine, he is a top 5 front rower in the game at the moment. He's a fantastic player. He is a player of the future. I think he'll be the New South Wales and Australian front rower for the next 10 years. He's got it all, Daniel Saifiti. He's a fantastic player. Obviously he makes the front row for the Knights. The hooker, Jaden Brayley, didn't play a lot last year due to an ACL injury, which was a shame. But now we'll see him back this year. We'll see him get minutes back in the Knights starting side. I think he'll do a very good job. He was a very good player at Cronulla before he left to go to the Knights, and then obviously did his ACL at the Knights before he didn't play too many games. But Jaden Brayley, I think he'll be good for the Knights this year. The back row of Tyson Frizzell and Mitchell Barnett. Now, Tyson Frizzell, we all know he had a pretty ordinary year last year at the Dragons. Now he's gone to the Knights. His head was probably more on the Knights last year than it was the Dragons. But now he's at the Knights. He's in a very good team. He'll probably play on the right edge with Mitchell Pearce, which is a good combination, I reckon. Tyson Frizzell, expect him to have a really big season at the Knights this year, and I think he'll cover up at the Knights this year. The other back row, Mitchell Barnett. Now, I could easily put Barnett at lock and put Fitzgibbon in the back row, but I reckon Barnett on the edge is so dangerous. Now, last year, when Barnett came back from his injury, he played back row for a while, and oh my God, he was scoring tries. He was doing all the little things right. The defensive line was bending very badly. He was worrying the defensive line on either side. You know, he'd run at the half, and then he'd worry the back row on his inside. Then he'd worry the centre on the outside. There'd be all sorts. So Barnett, for mine, I don't care if he plays lock or back row, but I think he'd be a great back row for the Knights this year. So I got Frizzell and Barnett on the edge. The lock, Connor Watson. I think Connor Watson will suit the lock position. The way the game's played at the moment, these sort of utility players, I think lock may be their best position. I think Connor Watson will play lock this year, and I think he will absolutely kill it at lock, Connor Watson. So I got him at lock. And on the bench, first player I got is Kurt Mann. Now, Kurt Mann will probably be the Knights' utility player. He can play any position. He can play hooker, play in the halves, play in the backs. Kurt Mann is the ultimate utility player for the Knights, and I think he's perfect for that jersey 14 for the Knights, along with the two front rows that come on, probably come on for Saifiti and Clemmer when they get a little bit tired. Jacob Saifiti and Sawasa Su. Now, Jacob Saifiti, been a very underrated player for a while now, and I think he'll do a very good job off the bench for the Knights. He's been a pretty good player for a while. And the other player, Sawasa Su, been at a few clubs now, like the Bulldogs, the Tigers. Been at a few clubs, Sawasa Su. I think he'll do a good job for the Knights off the bench as that front rower. So I think he'll have a pretty good year. Sawasa Su. And the other last player I got on the bench is Lachlan Fitzgibbon. Now, Lachlan Fitzgibbon probably come on and play a bit of back row. Maybe come on for Connor Watson. Move Barnett into the middle. I think Lachlan Fitzgibbon off the bench will be a good thing for him. I think it'd suit Fitzgibbon. Come on for Barnett. Barnett can move to lock. Watson can go to the bench. And I think it'd be a pretty good rotation to go that way. So Fitzgibbon makes the bench. Now, the 4 reserve players in case of injury and suspension. First player, Ari Tawala. I know he had a decent year last year at the Knights in the starting side, but I think there's better options for the Newcastle starting side. In my opinion, I think Ari Tawala will be an 18th, 19th man most weeks, but I think he missed out on the starting side. I got him in the reserves, along with Tex Hoy. Now, Tex Hoy will probably start the season. I know Ponga's not back to round 3, round 4. But I think Tex Hoy will cover the fullback spot until then. So I've got Tex Hoy in the reserves, along with Josh King. Probably the backup front row. If there was an injury on the bench or in the starting side, I think Josh King would come onto the bench or maybe the starting side most weeks. And the last player I got is Jamant Shibasaki. He can play in the centres. He can play back row. He can play either position and do a pretty good job. So I got Shibasaki as the last player in the reserves. So anyway, guys, that's my Newcastle Knights 2021 predicted NRL team. Let me know your Newcastle Knights 2021 predicted team in the comments section below. But as always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you guys go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And the Thunder is back again. And I will see you guys later tonight for the New Zealand Warriors 2021 predicted NRL team. Until then, guys, stay safe, have a good one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.